Hello Red Wings organization, my name is Johanna Ehrman and I'm applying for your social media coordinator position. In this presentation, I will tell you a little bit about myself, a little bit about your organization based on what I have done in research, and also why I think you should hire me. Like I mentioned, I've put together a slideshow to help you learn a little bit about myself, the research that I have done over your organization, and why I believe that I am best fit to fill your social media coordinator position. Starting off, as I mentioned, my name is Johanna Ehrman. I'm originally from Ann Arbor, Michigan. I'm a recent graduate of Bowling Green State University in Bowling Green, Ohio, where I earned my bachelor's degree in sports management. At my time at BGSU, I also earned a minor in marketing. I have experience within 2 internships, one at the Falcon Media Sports Network and the other one at the Toledo Mud Hens. I was also a 2-year captain of the BGSU Women's Swim and Dive team. I served on the Leadership Council for the Women's Swim and Dive team for 2 years as the Alumni and Team Recognition Chair. I'm also a 4-time academic All-MAC recipient, which is recognized by the Mid-American Conference at your championships of an athlete who performs highly in both the pool, in my case, and also in the classroom. I'm a 6-semester Dean's List member. I also am a 3-year Summer League swim coach, and while I was there, I coached anywhere from ages 4 to 17. I also was a 2-year lead creative voice where I ran the Instagram for Chippewa Swim and Tennis Club, where I catered social media content for their Instagram for all ages to interact with. So you may be wondering, what experience do I personally have? So I interned at Falcon Media Sports Network on the Bowling Green State University campus. At my time at Falcon Media Sports Network, I created content to highlight MAC football teams and games throughout the entirety of the football season. This included putting together a preview story of the games going on that week, as well as a recap story highlighting key figures on each and every team, and also storylines throughout the MAC and throughout the football season. I also interviewed various student athletes, their coaches, and athletic staff on BGSU's campus to create feature pieces highlighting success at BGSU. One of my favorite pieces was on a golfer named Ava O'Sullivan and her success that she has had here at BGSU since transferring from a lower division school. I also wrote scripts to read aloud on the Zig Zone radio talk show, highlighting current athlete successes, future athletic events on campus, and more about Bowling Green in general. I also interned with the Toledo Mud Hens. Here, I worked on the marketing team to create social media posts to create unity and excitement among fans coming to the game. I also worked to create events to enhance fan experience within the ballpark at games, as well as observed and participated in the team atmosphere within the Mud Hens staff and what they work in. Now for a little bit about your organization. Growing up in Ann Arbor, I did have a lot of prior knowledge, but I put in some research to find out a little bit more about the Detroit Red Wings franchise. First of all, they're coming up on their 100-year anniversary of the organization, who was originally founded in 1926. So next year will be the 100th year anniversary. They're part of the Atlantic Division in the Eastern Conference within the NHL. They also play in Little Caesars Arena, which is actually where the Detroit Pistons play, and I have been to many a games. They relocated from the Joe Louis Arena a couple years ago. Fun fact, I actually got the opportunity to skate on the Joe Louis Arena through my dad's work, since he works downtown at the Henry Ford Hospital. Detroit often refers to itself as Hockey Town, which just shows how proud they are of their team and the culture that they have built over these last 100 years. The Detroit Red Wings Foundation is a foundation that emphasizes community engagement, from the players doing service acts to other initiatives through games. The Detroit Red Wings Foundation really is part of uniting the Detroit community. This slide focuses on the general manager, Steve Yzerman. Now you might be wondering, why did I do so much research on Steve Yzerman? Well, as a key player for many years of the Red Wings, He is now the general manager, and he has been a key figure in the rebuilding era of the Red Wings. This rebuilding era started after their last win of the Stanley Cup back in 2008. Steve retired just a few years before that in 2006. He is known for his leadership style, which can be described as quiet yet firm, and he insists on a high level of professionalism throughout the entire organization, from the players to the staff in the front office. A quote from him reads, "I consider the Detroit Red Wings one of the greatest franchises in any sport. For a player to come in and play, it's just so special to wear that jersey." Steve Yzerman. He deeply believes in the franchise, and this is rooted in his time putting in all those hours to train and to play to represent the Detroit Red Wings all those years ago. Just a few more notes on the Detroit Red Wings organization as a whole. The organization is highly invested in technology, data analytics, and fan engagement strategies. This is extremely important in my opinion, especially in these recent years where technology is so rampant. It is important for franchises to do this in order to keep up with one another. In-game experiences are valued. This is wanting the fans to come back to support the team. There's also a push for esports, such as NHL gaming tournaments. This is also, with the rise of technology, something that they're needing to do to keep up, and working on merchandising to a broader amount to reach a broader audience in general. Now for a little bit about the specific position that I am applying for. This position is a social media coordinator at the Red Wings. This position would include game day coverage, which would mean pregame hype-up videos, starting lineups, warm-up content, and player arrivals, just to name a few of the types of content that I would be creating. It would also include in-game live updates on various social media platforms, especially X is the first one that comes to mind here. Post-game score graphics and interviews are also a big part of game day coverage. It would also include content creation and planning outside of game days. I would be working with graphic designers and photo and videographers to create specific content to go on our social medias. And also, I would be working to create new and innovative content to get to know the players better, for the fans to feel like they know them on a personal level. And also, balance the rich history and tradition of the Detroit Red Wings with the new and innovative social media trends. Keeping that balance is extremely important. I would also be studying analytics and data to measure post analytics on multiple platforms to ensure that my content is reaching fans in an effective way that also aligns with the franchise's core values that are especially enforced by Steve Yzerman. So why do I fit the job? Well, first off, as a Detroit area local, I understand the legacy and the loyalty and the community built within the Red Wings organizations. I grew up going to many games, and there really is no atmosphere in hockey that is quite like a Red Wings arena, especially when they score. I also have experience working in tight-knit competitive team environments, both as an athlete on the collegiate level and a professional. Speaking of being a collegiate athlete, I also understand team culture from an inside perspective, and I can relate on some capacity to these athletes. I can manage pressure, and I can also lead by example. I also have the ability to adapt to new leaders and the ability to lead a team. This also comes from my days as a collegiate athlete, where I had a head coaching change halfway through my career, and also was a two-time captain on my team, as I mentioned earlier. Coaching such a broad age group, ages 4 to 17, demonstrates my ability to communicate to a diverse audience, such as the ones that I will have to communicate to on different platforms. For example, the fans and the audience that will be on TikTok are a much different audience than the fans and the audience that will be on Facebook, and I will have to cater my communication styles to both of these audiences. Finally, I have a very deep understanding of the expectations that General Manager Steve Yzerman has for this organization, as you can see by the vast research that I put in to researching why he has the values that he does. Thank you for your time, and I hope you consider me.